Do you fall for this pattern where you go through an experience and at the end of the day, you rationalize those experiences as if they are not good enough, they are bad, they are not valuable enough? Maybe because some of those things you've done, these are things that everybody does. As such, it doesn't feel like it's something to celebrate, something to enjoy. So here's the first question. How big does something have to be for you to recognize it as good enough? Does it have to be a massive praise or promotion at work, or does it have to be like you won the lottery, or does it have to be like you bought a Lamborghini or bought a massive mansion before you feel like this is something worth being appreciated and celebrated? Or does feeling like you're big-headed stop you from actually appreciating these things too? Does that stop you from talking about them, or also stop you from seeing it as something you should embrace as good enough? The truth is that if you've got this pattern of thinking going on under the hood, what it's actually doing is that it's undermining everything you're doing. It's almost as if you've got a critical mother or a boyfriend telling you, well, what's the big deal? That's not good enough. Everybody does that. And this is what you're doing to yourself, where if you actually thought about it, if you saw somebody else talking down at another person, telling them how not good enough they are, if you saw someone doing that to somebody else, the truth is that you would feel really angry, frustrated at that person for undermining and undervaluing and beating this person down. I'll probably really want to punch the person's face. I know that that's kind of joking about it, but that's how bad you feel. But in reality is that you'll notice that this way of talking down to another person is very toxic. And yet, this is the same relationship you're having with yourself. You will notice how that way of talking is making that other person very sad and oppressed. And yet, this is the same way you're talking to yourself. It's really important to start seeing what you're doing in this light. Perhaps over some time, you've been noticing in yourself that you've been feeling depressed because life has not been feeling enjoyable and full of purpose and full of meaning. Is it possible that it's this insipid pattern of thinking that's eating away at your joy without you even realizing it? Even if it is unintentional, thinking like this will still undermine you. It will still hold you back. It will still make life draining. So what's the practical steps to stop undermining yourself? Fortunately, the practical way of dealing with this is very easy. And the idea would be to literally start a positive data log with special emphasis on focusing on the little things. As you're logging these small things down, pay particular attention to those moments when you're thinking, oh, that's not important, that's not valuable, because that's highlighting the very things you need to be noticing by nature, because those are the things that are being undermined. Those are the things that are being undervalued. Maybe before you were logging only the fact that you paid for your mortgage. Now we would even log, today I managed to have a conversation with someone without feeling panicky. Or we log, today I was able to make a cup of tea because yesterday I wasn't able to make that cup of tea. So no matter how small the achievement is, we log those things down. The best way to write these down correctly would be to write them down as they happen. So what you then do is in the evening and morning, you review this list, because something very interesting happens when we go to sleep. You see, when we are sleeping, the brain processes the events of the day, and it would often pay attention to the things we were doing before we went to sleep. So it's helpful to give the brain a very positive list of things to process as it's dealing with the day's activities in your head, helping the brain to be in a very nice and alert, positive state when you wake up, making it more likely that you're going to have